I don't know. No, they're younger than me. Probably like 23, 24. Yeah, I'm 25. You're 90 years old. I'm 10. So you must be like 5 years old.
Mr. President and Vice Chancellor, Barbara Davidson, honored platform guests, chers diplômés, parents and friends.
Bonjour et bienvenue. Welcome. My name is André Roy, and I have the privilege to be the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Science. It is such a tremendous pleasure to look out and see you all here at this moment on this special day, coming together to celebrate the end of one phase in your lives and the beginning of another. You have each made a significant personal choice to commit years of your lives to the pursuit of an education at Concordia. Now, as you leave us, you can continue to become not only educated, but to become wise as you strike out into the world. As you prepare for the next step in your journey, let me say that there could be no better role model than today's honorary doctorate recipient, Barbara Davidson. Ms. Davidson has made significant contributions to photojournalism. What began at a Concordia student newspaper, The Link, took her to the Los Angeles Times and covering the human condition in many countries around the world. It is an honor to have someone of such vision and courage with us.
Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. My name is Rebecca Duclos, and I have the pleasure of being the Dean of the Faculty of Fine Arts. It is such a joy to stand here with my colleague, Dean Roy, to welcome all of you to this beautiful venue in Place des Arts. We are so proud to be amongst you and to congratulate you on this day. Knowing the work that you have put into your studies and the courage that it has taken you to pursue your passions over the years, we are proud to be with you here celebrating these accomplishments. We hope the seeds have been sown for a lifetime of care for your scholarship, your communities, and for this fragile planet, which needs you more now than ever.
Nous vous souhaitons une magnifique journée et nous vous invitons maintenant à entonner avec Madame Colleen Bartley, mezzo-soprano, notre hymne national au Canada.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits et ta valeur deux fois trompée protégera nos foyers et nos droits. Stand on guard for thee.
Please be seated. Bonjour, je suis très heureux de célébrer avec vous aujourd'hui les réalisations des finissantes et finissants de nos facultés des arts et sciences et des beaux-arts. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that this ceremony and that both campuses of Concordia University are located on unceded Indigenous lands. The Kanien'kehá:ka Nation is recognized as the custodians of the lands and waters on which we gather today. Tiohtià:ke, ou Montréal, est historiquement connu comme un lieu de rassemblement pour de nombreuses Premières Nations et aujourd'hui une population autochtone diversifiée ainsi que d'autres peuples y résident. We respect the continued connections with the past, present, and future in our ongoing relationships with Indigenous and other peoples within the Montreal community. Now, you may be asking yourself, why are we beginning a convocation ceremony with a territorial acknowledgement? The short answer is that many universities have crafted similar acknowledgements to begin important events. They do so as a response to the calls to action of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The Commission was an inquiry into the tragic history of the residential schools program, which has been described as a cultural genocide perpetrated against Indigenous peoples. 2 weeks ago, the New Yorker writer Adam Gopnik gave a talk at Concordia. He'd been on a speaking tour of Canada. En tant que Montréalais vivant à New York, il a été frappé de voir à quel point les reconnaissances territoriales se sont enracinées dans la culture des universités canadiennes. And he asked a difficult question. In their repetition, do these acknowledgements risk becoming just another instance of Canadian piety? In other words, do we really feel the meaning of these words, or are they just a new part of our rituals? So let me try to answer Adam's question with another question for all of you. Did you ask yourself why today's ceremony began with a bagpiper, why we sang O Canada, or why we're displaying flags signifying the territories of Montreal, Quebec, and Canada? Comme vous, je ressens une immense fierté à l'égard de notre ville, du Québec et du Canada. Nous avons beaucoup de chance de vivre ici. And as a publicly funded institution, we're extremely grateful for the support of all three levels of government. But does that explain why we take some ceremonial trappings for granted and others not? Let me try another angle. You may be surprised to hear this, but let me assure you, I don't dress like this every day. Neither do my colleagues on the stage, and neither do you, the graduates. Nous abordons cette tenue aujourd'hui parce que nous prenons part à une version d'une cérémonie européenne dont les origines remontent à des centaines d'années. Elle célèbre l'institutionnalisation du savoir universitaire comme fondement de la société civile. Le modèle universitaire européen a été franchisé et aujourd'hui, telles des succursales, plus de 20 000 universités existent partout dans le monde. You won't be surprised to hear that I believe deeply in the societal value of universities. Our research and teaching play a vital role in tackling the world's grand challenges. And universities prepare next generations of informed citizens to make a positive difference in society. But at the time of their origins, universities were gated communities. Some still are. They devalued or marginalized other forms of knowledge. So by giving a territorial acknowledgement here today, we're also confronting the colonial origins of higher education in Canada. In this way, the acknowledgement serves as a reminder of the unconscious biases that all of us betray. I'd like to believe that when you chose to pursue your education at Concordia, you hoped that in some way it would transform you. J'espère que vos professeurs et vos pairs vous ont poussé à envisager le monde autrement, avec un esprit plus critique. But I also hope you discovered that just as there are limits to what each of us knows, universities also don't have a monopoly on knowledge. Knowledge comes in different forms from many places. In the case of Concordia, it comes from the diversity of peoples alluded to in the territorial acknowledgement. In fact, few universities anywhere can claim to be as diverse as we are. 20% of our students come from outside Canada, from more than 150 countries, not counting Indigenous nations, I should add. Plus de 20% de nos étudiants et étudiantes ont le français comme langue maternelle et plus de 30% ont une langue maternelle autre que le français ou l'anglais. Ce sont de telles particularités qui contribuent à faire de Concordia un lieu si propice à l'innovation. Such diversity forces people to find new ways to communicate and express themselves. To do that, you have to learn to think differently, to learn across boundaries. And that's an important lesson because in the 21st century, knowledge is a team sport. Take Concordia's new Institute for Investigative Journalism. It mobilized students from this and 9 other universities, plus major news outlets such as Le Devoir, Global News, the Toronto Star, and the Associated Press. Together, they conducted recently a major investigation into the measurement of drinking water quality in Montreal and Quebec. This project was based on the principle of radical sharing. And talk about impact. Their reportage led instantaneously to new public policies and protocols at both levels of government. So now, let me ask you another question. What will you do with the knowledge and skills you gained here at Concordia? We're living through a moment in human history when misinformation, disinformation, and outright contempt for expertise are pervasive. My hope is that each of you will leave here determined to take those falsehoods on, that you will leave here optimistic that you can make a positive difference at a time when there are too many naysayers, cynics, hucksters, and voices of discouragement hogging social media and the public commons. I'll close my remarks with one last reference to the territorial acknowledgement. Let's be frank. The acknowledgement is a reminder of a place and time we never knew. Pour une université nouvelle génération comme Concordia, il s'agit d'un rappel que notre présence a toujours été précédée par celle d'autres peuples. Et ce rappel est nécessaire car l'oubli est souvent beaucoup plus facile que le souvenir. So if you remember only one thing from today, may it be that you'll always be our best ambassadors. As you go on to do great things, take with you the immense pride everyone in this hall today has in you. Go out and lead your life proudly. Do it in a way that makes it impossible for the world to forget that you were here, that Concordia is a part of why and how you do what you do. Thank you. Thank you for having chosen Concordia. Congratulations, and may I wish you all the best of success.
Mr. President, it is my honor to present you Ms. Barbara Davison, celebrated photojournalist. Way to go, Barbara. A Montreal native, Miss Davidson knew by age 15 that she wanted to be a photographer before ever shooting a roll of film. Durant son baccalauréat et beaux-arts et Concordia, ses professeurs lui ont repris à bord le reportage sur un angle moins classique et plus conceptuel. She has a distinctly narrative and human approach to to photography. Whether she's covering an armed conflict or a natural disaster, victims of gang violence or sex trafficking, her great compassion for her portrait subjects leaves her with a strong impression in everyone that is around her. It has certainly impressed award juries. Miss Davidson has won 3 Pulitzer Prizes and twice been named Newspaper Photographer of the Year by Pictures of the Year International. The medium and use of photography have undergone incredible revolution during the course of Miss Davidson's career. But she insists what goes into creating powerful images hasn't changed since her student days. As she says, it's all about good storytelling and having the passion to see those stories through. Mr. President, on behalf of Senate and the Board of Governors, it is my privilege and honor to present you Ms. Barbara Davidson so that you may confer upon her the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Way to go, Barb.
Now I'd like to invite Dr. Davidson for her convocation address.
Is there any water here? Okay. President Carr, Provost Whitelaw, very proud of you, by the way. Got a woman as a provost. Thank you so much. Okay. Deans, honored guests, and my tribe up there in the balcony. Thank you for this incredible honor. It is incredibly humbling. But I now would like to say congratulations to the graduating class of 2019. Bravo. In 1990, I was actually sitting where you are today. Maybe not in the exact spot, but figuratively speaking. It was the year that I graduated from Concordia University with a fine arts degree. So this is sort of a homecoming for me, and it's truly a full circle. When I received the phone call from President Carr that Concordia wanted to award me an honorary doctorate, I was, for once in my life, speechless. I could wrap my head around being awarded a Pulitzer Prize, but receiving an honorary degree just floored me. I've traveled around the world and seen firsthand how the basic human right to an education has been denied to so many people, especially girls and women. And that awareness has left a lasting imprint on me. Education equals freedom. I was the first person in my family to get a university degree. And I am keenly aware that education lifted me out of poverty and gave me the freedom to achieve so many of my dreams. I was very lucky that at a young age, I knew what I wanted to do when I grew up. I knew what I wanted to be, even before I had ever taken a photograph. But that doesn't mean becoming a globe-trotting photojournalist came easy to me. But it did all start here at Concordia, where I spent more hours working at the Link, our student newspaper, than I did in class. Apologies to all my former professors for all my late papers, but Mark Twain said, "Never let school interfere with your education," and I took that to heart. My love of making pictures and telling stories was something that I was going to do professionally, no matter how many people told me it wasn't really a woman's profession and that it was unlikely that I would make it in a very competitive field. And it seemed for a time that they were right, especially when I didn't get accepted into the photography major program here at Concordia. But no hard feelings, because I'm Dr. Davidson on campus now. Chances are you may hear similar things when you tell people about your professional goals, especially if those goals are off the beaten path and not what your family had in mind for your professional journey. God love my mom. She wanted me to be a secretary because it was safe and there would always be work for me. It was scary for my immigrant mother to wrap her head around my adventurous spirit. But one day, shortly after I immigrated to the United States for a job in Washington, D.C., I called my mom on the phone. I didn't just call her from anywhere. I called her from the White House, where I was attending President Clinton's Christmas party. I can assure you, after that call, there was never any doubt in my mom's mind that I chose the right career path. She did ask me who was paying for the call, though, and I assured her it was the American taxpayers. My birth rank falls in between 4 brothers. Who could have predicted that being in constant battle and competition with my brothers would be the perfect preparation for the rough and tumble, dog-eat-dog world of photojournalism? If you ever meet them, please don't let them know, but I do owe them a lot, but don't let them know that. A lot of you will leave here today ready to draft a CV and embark on your careers. Don't be afraid to start at the bottom. My first paying gig happens to have taken place just down the street from here. I worked at a department store called Simpson's, and I was the Santa Claus photographer. On our lunch break, Santa would get drunk and smoke cigarettes. And I could assure you that totally shattered the kid in me. You will experience a lot of setbacks. I'm sorry to break the news to you. But you will learn profound lessons from your failures. I applied for a dozen of internships before someone was finally, after about 50 attempts, to give me a chance at the Kitchener-Waterloo Record. Every time I opened a response letter to a job query and saw the word sorry, tears would stream down my face. But I learned very early on to fight my way through rejection, never to give up, and never to let anyone from stopping me of becoming a photojournalist. The truth is that I have actually barely scratched the surface to inform you about all of my failures and rejections, because hey, this is your day, it's a day of celebration, we're going to rejoice. Maybe some of you graduates are sitting here not knowing what you want to do with your life just yet. What I say to you is travel. Spend time exploring the world, new cultures, and finding out what it is that inspires you. I have had the great privilege to travel the world for a living. I have borne witness to the horrors of war in Iraq, Afghanistan, Gaza, the Democratic Republic of Congo, just to name a few. I have experienced firsthand the crushing impact of humans destroying one another. I have covered the aftermath of earthquakes, tsunamis, tornadoes, and hurricanes. I have attended births, weddings, graduations, and worship services all around the world. I was once assigned by my editors at the Dallas Morning News to cover life after the fall of the Taliban, who had systematically shut girls and women out of education in Afghanistan. I was there in Kabul the first day the girls were welcomed back into classrooms. What a glorious day it was. Girls dressed in blue burqas danced and waved at us, photographers from their classrooms. One of the teachers urged me to come in. She brought me to a windowless room to meet some of the girls. With no men in sight, the girls felt safe to remove their burqas. Through a translator, they asked me how it was possible that a woman had traveled so far to meet them. I smiled and told them there were millions of working women just like me where I live, and that girls, just like them, have the freedom to grow up to be whatever they want to be. They looked at me as though I was from Mars. I believe we have more in common with people who may not look like us or sound like us, don't eat the same foods, or practice the same religions than what actually divides us. And in this time of fake news, where immigrants are often portrayed as the enemy, I offer to you that I am a far richer person for having explored so many cultures. As you roll out of here and into the next phase of your life, be mindful that leaps of faith are actually good for you. I recently quit my job after spending 10 years at the Los Angeles Times, one of the most coveted jobs in the industry. And yet, I left without having the comfort of a trust fund, a bank full of money, or a sugar daddy. I left because I felt it was time for me to recalibrate, to break new ground. And I looked at myself one day and thought, is this it? Am I going to grow old and cranky at a job that I really believe I've outgrown? And then I decided, after many, many, many sleepless nights, that I'm not settling. So I had to conquer my fear of the unknown and dive into a freelance photography world where I am essentially starting all over again. Fear, if wrangled correctly, keeps you hungry, inspired, and triggers new creative energy that fades if one doesn't keep it fresh. I believe the most important words of advice that I could give you today are to not let fear hold you back from anything. I live my life as though I might die tomorrow because I almost did. Early in my career, I traveled to cover the end of the Bosnian War. It was there that myself and my driver were captured and held captive by Arkan Tigers, an ethnic cleansing paramilitary force. For 2 days, I didn't know if I was going to live or die. That level of fear leaves a lasting imprint, one that I have to wrestle with every time I find myself covering a dangerous assignment or giving important speeches like right now. Because of that experience, I don't let fear dictate what I cover, and I don't take my life for granted. I am keenly aware of time. The world has changed dramatically since I graduated in 1990, and it will continue to do so for you. My mom grew up in a tiny cement house with no running water, no electricity, no toilet in rural Ireland. She immigrated with my father and essentially raised 7 children by herself. She taught me by example to always get back up when knocked down, and that the real heroes are the ones who get back on track even in the face of despair. I believe the journey will always be far more interesting than the destination. I envy all of you graduates. You are at the beginning of your adventure, and what an amazing place to be. I want to leave you with this. Listen to your inner voice, be aware of it, and let it guide you in your quest to be the architect of your life. Congratulations, class of 2019. Stay humble. Thank you.
Barbara, Dr. Davidson, thank you. What a wonderful, wonderful convocation address. You really ran the gamut of human emotion in your remarks, and I think showed us that what we have in common is the beauty of our differences, among other things. So thank you. Thank you for being part of our community. And now, while our graduates prepare to cross the stage, I invite you all to enjoy the music of the Concordia Jazz Trio.
I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Doctorate in Philosophy from the following programs: Biology, Chemistry, Communication, Humanities, Arts and Science, Individualized Program, Humanities, Mathematics, Physics, Psychology, Religion, Social and Cultural Analysis. Daniel Baudet. David Colitriano. Hala Youssef. Ashley McCaskill.
Jeremy Tetlow-Farber.
Jeremy Tetrell Farber. Linda Fitzgibbon. Oscar Alberto Quijano Hakur. Christina Crivello. Kirla, Ireland. Rachel Neal. Megan Wood. Nina Mastru. Margaret Campbell. So, say it again. Johanna Pine Feinberg.
Hi, so I'm pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Doctor of or Doctorate in Philosophy from the following programs: Art Education, Art History, Film and Moving Image Studies, and Humanities and the Fine Arts. Caroline Martin. Michel Hardy-Vallée. Aaron Finblum.
I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following programs: Human Systems Intervention. Vienna Bienvenue Blum. Laila Boussière. Jacqueline Ann Courtney. René Garcia. Linda Gertie. Alicia Greenwood. Corey Scott. Faye Silak. Catherine Samrani. Leah Weinberg. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Science from the following program: Biology, Chemistry. Michael Chung. Brandon Stopnicki. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following programs: Media Studies, Economics, Applied Linguistics, Child Studies, Educational Studies, Educational Technology, English, Traductologie. Courtney Blamey. Thomas Hackbarth. Hunter Lubert. Michael Iantorno. Maze Longboat. Sami Zandurdi. Samantha Antoine. Karen Kirakosyan. Mary Apolou. Saeed Bayat. Gabriela Bloise. Victor Jose Flet. Saye Sayedain. Sumin Lee. Alexandra Maduro. Cynthia Satacroce. Alexandra Singer. Ashley Sodano. Ling Zhang. Shang Cheng. Natalia Collier Lopez. Lauren Farley. Jacqueline Hines. Ghazal Terani. Sophie Bengozi. Amanda Boyden. Naomi Burton McLeod. Michael Colatrullo. Erica Giraldo. Elizabeth Lakoff. Zainur Majid. Aaron Bilkey. Anna Rosenfield. Tessa Dufour. Miles Forrester. Adrian Goodfriend. Zoe Lambernacos Raymond. Tyler Patricio. Nicola Sipthorpe. Zachary Carlton Wilkins. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Environment from the following program: Environmental Assessment. Megan Schmidt. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Science from the following programs: Geography, Urban and Environmental Studies, Exercise Science. Julia Mascarano. Brent Rosenstein. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following programs: History, Journalism Studies. Jesse James Pisanelli. Eric Piero Serra. Arya Alavi. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts and the Master of Magisteriate in Science from the following program: Mathematics. Shi Shank. Carlos Eturia. Edwin Ng. Mohammed Rahman. Anna Svernova. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following programs: Philosophy. Joshua Smith. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Science from the following program: Physics. Gareth Jonathan Mellon. Matthew Storms. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following programs: Public Policy and Public Administration, Psychology, Sociology, Theological Studies. Nicole Bailey. Claudia Barbara Marrero Sardi. Caitlin Matthew. Yasmin Radasi. Gabriel Salas. Lisa Astrologo. Anne Baptiste. Chi Chao. Simon Hall. Kenneth Kelly Turner. Anastasia Volushkin. Rumana Ferdusi. Gabrielle Degagny. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the graduate diploma in the following programs: biotechnology and genomics, clinical psychology, communication studies, community economic development, economics, adult education, instructional technology, youth work. Gudnay Sigurdsson. Aaron Acosta. Jessica Bickford. Deanna Lombardi. Rebecca LaRusso. Chloe Williams. Mira Nikulu Kadiele. Bianca Luchin. Corey Seaton. Jennifer Amen Ordia. Roxanne Brace. Lauren Ferguson. Felicia Pimentel Monez. Janika Rose. Stephanie Trigonakis.
I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following programs: Art Education, Art History, Creative Arts Therapies and Art Therapy, Creative Arts Therapies Drama Therapy, Creative Arts Therapies Music Therapy, Film Studies, and the Individualized Program in Fine Arts. Lucy Letterhandler. Douglas Dumais. Paulina Losenko. Catherine Florence. Gabrielle Monpetit. Christina Vannon. Estelle Wathieu. Rebecca Bagan. Catherine Fauché. Audrey-Anne Frenette. Hannah Gabowecki. Christina Parker. Stephanie Singh. Cassandra Brennan. Bailey Carter. Sarah Davidson. Victoria Dennis. Paula Duffy. Lauren Abidia. Patricia Herity. Rowena Chi Wing Tam. Natasha Willio. Bill Young. Nathalie Albert. Evelyn Arsenault Cooper. Laura Hastings. Soraya Atag. Patrick Boner. Colin Crawford. John Gardner. Jennifer Cressy. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Fine Arts from the following program, Studio Arts. Ai Ikeda. Rebecca Muntz. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the graduate diploma in the following program, Music Therapy. Miranda Bray. Trina Chakrabarty.
Dan Goldman.
Dan Goldman. Eleanor Hart. Brooklyn Hall. Taylor Lewis. Rachel Norris. Stéphane Supervielle. Maryse Trottier-Cournoyer. Ryan Vermeer.
I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of the Baccalaureate in Arts from the following departments: Applied Human Sciences, Solale Amini, Fatea Aslam, Megan Baxter, Matthew Burke, Camille Boyce Manso, with distinction, Victoria Braut Rochette, Robin Bodrick, with distinction, Geneviève Chagnon, Jordan Chin, Dunya Darwich, with distinction, Monica De Vito, Rachel Jacobs, Ariane Macapaz, Alexandra Mengi, Jérémy Monnier, Luis Anne Monteiro, Daniel Patterson, Mario Rapatoni, Emma Scullion, Michael René Skitt, Carol Yanis, with distinction, Dominika Joyvoda, I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Science from the following departments: Biology, Chemistry, and Biochemistry. Christine Abdel-Malek, Nina Abdou, with distinction, Setu Bajaj, Philippe Colin Terrien, with great distinction, Jessica Deng, Mélanie Dao, Jenna Anna Di Girolamo. Sorry. Caroline Dion. Amy Eugénie Dufour. Maximilian Guglielmi Vitulio. Brendan Johnke, with distinction. Gabrielle Lamotte, with great distinction. Adam McDonald, with distinction. Gabrielle Nessel, with distinction. Alice Nguyen. Joseph Paquignatar. Saad Razak, with great distinction. Ninal Sigal, with distinction. Mohamed Al-Kamali. Reginald Gracia. Gabriel Junot, with distinction. William Leal. Charere Moley. Enes Sepsup. Madeleine Tessen. William Vargas. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following departments: Classics, Modern Language and Linguistics, Communication Studies, Economics, and Education. Alexandre Urtubis, with distinction. Bianca Ladaverde. Albert Xavier Martinez Abarca. Stéphanie Alexia Nalpatian. Domenica Rosselli. Noah Baum, with distinction. Talia Cole. Michel Gervais, with distinction. Clarissa Mendoza, with distinction. Jan Mutolski, with distinction. Alizé Pilot, with distinction. Perminder Singh Barot. Patrick Campbell Pelletier. Nicolas Arcangelo Delia. Victoria Kajiva.
Congratulations. We're proud of you.
Amanpreet Kaur Kaler. Shaming Danili. Rosanne Makantenge. Colleen Megan. Camila Palomino. Billy Vansavat Wansa. Kevin Pochato. Eric Scanlon. Jean-Marie Tella. Olga Zolotuhin. Alexandra Badia. Megri Bakarian. Cristina Davario. Courtney Haynes McLean. Dorothea Ipure. Mithun Sutarna Lingam. Stephanie Vasquez. Sharon Velota Pillay.
I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Education. Cassandra Bracken Gunet. Carolyn Keith. Athena Magdalenos. Aline Nigogosin. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following departments: English, Études Françaises. Danielle Boucher. Eli Burley, with distinction. Patricia Chitraversi. Sabrina Gendron. Ariane Georges. Dora Gisela Dorte, with distinction. Beatrice Gonval Del Pino, with distinction. Goldberg Hassan, with distinction. Gabrielle Jean. Aristides Calamaris, with distinction. Guillaume Keys. Natalie McDonald, with distinction. Sarah Marinak. Livia Popescu. Tatiana Scarfo. Miranda Ball. Olivia Santomo Bozo, with distinction. Jessica Chaput-Turcotte. Jocelyn Sanka Mancia. Hadil El Haj. Elsa Hamilton. Astrid Trulette. Claude Wabant. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts and the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Science from the following department: Geography, Planning, and Environment. Lucy Alabois. Victoria Danielova. Isabella Elsinger Garant. Shervin Bakhtiari. Cedric Lewis. Kongray Lee. Alexander Loven. Nicholas Angelo Risi. Sebastian Strinkvel, with distinction. Emily Wheeler. Xiao Si Yang. Tabea Visheri, with distinction. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Science from the following department: Department of Health, Kinesiology, and Applied Physiology. Averly Carr, with distinction. Tanya Daghofer-Haas, with distinction. Danya Elaraj, with distinction. Tejesh Patel. Mariangela Pereira, with distinction. Jeffrey Wiggins, with distinction. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following departments: History, Journalism, Liberal Arts College. Marco DiFranco. Elodie Lima Bizier. Annabelle Girard, with distinction. Dawood Tella, with distinction. Adriana Valois. Adriano Valois. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts and the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Science from the following department: Mathematics and Statistics. Victoria Adanachi. Viviane G. Tizar. Barnika Kandia. Xiao Zhen Lin. James Kierans, with distinction. Nicolas Marchand, with distinction. Shui Yen Lang. Monica Sapala. Mohammed Spitsit. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following department: Philosophy. Kelsey Bintama. Chikezi Odigbo. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Science from the following department: Physics. George Williams.
I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following department: Political Science. Noella Alexander Young. Xingdong An. Gavin Armitage Ackerman. John Babarutis, with distinction. Sarah Benarash. Anas Ben Mejdoub, with distinction. Irakli Bitsazdeh. Lena Bretu Ottman. Rainier Caballera. Sarah Conley, with distinction. Beatrice Crescia. Wesley Zion, with distinction. Hans Dorsic. Céline Gatapia. Rafael Angel Jimenez. Daniel Guzman. Brian Im. Marlène Iradukunda. Colleen Jabour. Brandon Jalbert. J. Kylie Carmaker. Alizé Les Orivici. Serena Lopez. Jamie Malone, with distinction. Wellington Mazonko. Laura Chistera. Noor Mehaji, with distinction. Jeremy Micheletti. Mariam Mohammed. Alessandra Petinicchio. Eva Rokakis. Stefan Sankos. Elizabeth Sarianis. Ariana Silla. Jeremy Ververis, with distinction. Ivandra Zizengaro. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts and the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Science from the following department: psychology. Katarina Ayeva with great distinction. Eleni Bernier with distinction. Valerie Borsellino. Patrice Dennis with distinction. Amanda Frias. Natalie Germain with distinction. Sana Hassan. Delizar Asnaoui. Emily Korzak. Thank you. Bianca Laplante. Josephine Lees. Naomi Longmore. Elsa Fabmin. Farouk Rosoli with distinction. Nicholas Salama Soroichka with distinction. Urji Evan Sabido with distinction. Emma Cohen with distinction. Mark Espin. Leila Fadlala. Sophie Levasseur with distinction. Zoe Victoria Lord. Maya Okindo. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following departments: Religions and Cultures, School of Irish Studies, School of Community and Public Affairs, Simone de Beauvoir Institute and Women's Studies, Sociology and Anthropology. Sarah Sharp with distinction. Ari Kavork Daglian. Cassandra Dorico with distinction. Vera Kazarian with distinction. Laurie-Luz Plaz. Fatimatou Ba. Emiliane Franceschini. Sarah Galia Gervais. Ruby Watts. Samantha Andrews. Shahrzad Behrooz with great distinction. Rebecca Boyd with distinction. Alexa Carota. Habib Alexandre Dao. Tamara Elias. Raquel Gurman. Li Jiang. Christopher Jones. Anne-Marie Nasra. Maya Pearson with distinction. Gianfranco Pasca. Suzanne Allison Ray. Okay. Kopika Sinaturai. Riley Vanner Tan. Alejandra Tero Linares. Nargis Villani. Dominique Watts. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the undergraduate certificate in the following programs: Family Life Education, Adult Education, Teaching of English as a Second Language, Science Foundations, Arts and Science, and Pastoral Ministry. Cecilia Moorhead. Amélie Sava Ferguson, sorry.
I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Fine Arts from the following departments: Art Education, Art History, the Mel Hoppenheim School of Cinema, and Contemporary Dance. Emma Desgranges. Alisa Haugenstrand. Serena Warshall with distinction. Patrick Blair. Charlotte Danet-Bessette. Waleed Jabri with distinction. Emily Credle with distinction. Yasmin Mondor. Andres Alfredo Solis Barrios with distinction. Elliot Tuikan. Kim Fleury-Bertrand. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Fine Arts from the following departments: Design and Computation Arts, Music, Studio Arts, and Theater. Felipe Dangond. Samantha Hébert. Laura Hirsch with distinction. Dimitrios Kontogianos. Melina Lopez Racine with distinction. Edwin Luku. Hajar Moussali. Carolina Ovalet. Gavin Park with distinction. Charlotte Rusching with distinction. Emma Spellasy. Emily Tucker with distinction. Anton Bali with distinction. Malik Alec with distinction. Creighton Clark. Jason Diorio with distinction. Joshua Harris with distinction. Olivier Herman with distinction. Mehdi Rakimdort with great distinction. Senline Bai. Julian Basilic. Gabor Bata. Emily Vouillous with distinction. Ali Shedadi with distinction. Maya Donnelly with distinction. Claire Jacquemin Park. Mariana Moreno Caro with distinction. Lasha Nakonachne with distinction. Chelsea Thompson Quartz with distinction. Paul Tremblay Tardif with distinction. Melissa Verasamy. Melina Vera. Erlou Jou. Maureen Adolson with distinction. Kaylin Corrigan. Melody Goulet with distinction. Patrick Park with distinction.
I'd now like to call upon the Provost and Vice President Academic, Dr. Ann Whitelaw, for the conferring of the degrees.
Would all graduates please stand? Mr. President and Vice Chancellor, on behalf of Senate, I present to you the candidates for degrees, diplomas, and certificates in the Faculty of Arts and Science and the Faculty of Fine Arts. I certify that these candidates have fulfilled the requirements for these degrees.
By the powers granted in the university charter, I admit each of you to the appropriate degree, diploma, or certificate as approved by Senate and certified by the Provost. Congratulations, and please be seated. The Governor General's Silver Medal is awarded on behalf of Her Excellency, the Governor General of Canada, to the highest ranking undergraduate student graduating from Concordia University. He is graduating from the Department of Biology with a grade point average of 4.23. It is I can never resist asking what went wrong, right? On a 4.3 possibility. It is with great pleasure that I announce this year's winner, Philippe Collin-Terrien.
I am honored to introduce the joint valedictorians from the Faculties of Fine Arts and Arts and Science. Dr. Eric Fillion and Dr. Annie Rollins. Our two valedictorians epitomize excellence in research and outstanding contributions to their fields. Dr. Eric Fillion completed his PhD dissertation Experiment in Cultural Diplomacy, Music as Mediation in Canadian-Brazilian Relations, 1940s to the 1960s, under the supervision of Dr. Graham Carr in the Department of History. His research explores the social and symbolic importance of music within countercultures and in Canadian international relations. Among his many achievements, Dr. Fillion was awarded the Political History Prize from the Canadian Historical Association. He was a 2018 Concordia Public Scholar and the winner of Concordia's 3-minute thesis competition. He embraces the city and embraces the world as the founder of the Tenzier archival record label and the author of Jazz Libre et la Révolution québécoise. Currently, Dr. Fillion is a SSHRC FRQSC postdoctoral fellow at the University of Toronto and our valedictorian for the Faculty of Arts and Science. Dr. Annie Rollins defended her PhD dissertation, Immaterial Remains, the Impossibilities of Preserving China's Shadow Puppet, under the supervision of Dr. Mark Sussman in Humanities. Her research examined China's shadow theater from a historical, political, and future perspective as a both living and endangered form of theater. Dr. Rollins' dedication and academic excellence were recognized by a Fulbright Scholarship, a SSHRC Doctoral Fellowship, and numerous international conference and exposition awards. She has also experimented boldly, presented exhibitions, performative lectures, and solo performances at Concordia and beyond. In addition to her academic achievements, Dr. Rollins is an active member of the theatre community, a co-founder of Concrete Cabaret Toronto, and our 2019 valedictorian for the Faculty of Fine Arts. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Fillion and Dr. Rollins.
Wow. President, Vice Chancellor Carr, Vice Chair Martin, Dr. Davidson, distinguished guests, and participants, fellow graduates, families, and friends, we are pleased to address you today on behalf of the graduating students. We, Annie and I, wish to congratulate the graduating class for having achieved something monumental. Whether you did so part-time or full-time, you completed a journey that will take you to unexpected places. Getting a degree is a defining moment. It is a milestone in a process of self-discovery and growth. You may think of it as an end in itself, but it never is, trust me. It's also not an entirely solitary experience. You are part of a community at Concordia, a community that took you as you were, where you were, and encouraged you to become the most fulfilled and accomplished version of yourself. Be that person every day. Each of us has taken a different path to get here. Mine was a winding one. I took a lot of detours, mostly to beat the drums, literally, and explore the roads. Some will say that I was a repeat dropout. Mes parents, eux, disaient plutôt que je me traînais les pieds. Those closest to me understood that I was single-minded in my desire to pursue several passions simultaneously. Being curious and laser-focused is how I dealt with my hyperactivity, and it's also, incidentally, how I stumbled upon my dissertation topic. And I suppose that I found some balance in the 6 years that I spent here at Concordia as a doctoral student. And this winding path was a successful one, due in great part to outstanding mentorship and to the fact that I was welcomed, welcomed back, and welcomed again in a supportive and progressive department, the Department of History.
And just like Eric, my path has also been a winding one. If you'd have known me at the age of 10, you wouldn't have guessed that I'd be standing here today. In fact, if you'd have known me at 18, 25, or 30, you would have found it rather unbelievable. In fact, my mother told me this. But what she and everyone could see was an inexhaustible passion for live performance, puppetry, traditions, and an underlying drive to keep the past and our stories alive. Those invisible passions that are brewing within you, these are the driving forces that will lead you to your next best step if you let them. Whenever possible, even while slogging away at your everyday life, touch these inner embers and keep them glowing until you are able to give them their due. After I passed my defense in March, everyone who has been following my degree asked what was next. I had no answer, or rather, I have no answer that satisfies them. And isn't this the wrong question anyway? Shouldn't it be, how has the degree changed you? For this is what I find myself sitting with these last 6 months. How has the degree changed you? For me, my research taught me stamina, focus, and grit. My Concordia community showed me how to validate and celebrate my artistic practice as research. My fieldwork taught me about the deepest layers of patience, witnessing, engagement, and empathy. Through this work, this degree here at Concordia, I have become far more conscious of the impossible entanglement of influence and affect. The one thing I know for sure is that everything and everyone is unknowable in its totality. So I am more humble and more kind. And if there is one thing an institution should be a factory for, it's kindness.
I've been thinking about Annie's question, right? How has the degree changed me? And I should be able to answer the question, but I'm a historian, right? And historians, well, you know, they need distance to assess things appropriately. So instead, I'm going to encourage you to be creative with what comes next. Be daring. Wander if you have to. What matters is that you're present, engaged, and passionate. Compassionate too. Keep things moving, preferably forward. Congratulations again to all of you, and best of luck as you continue on that journey of yours.
What a team. And what a great question. How has the degree changed you? So some people come to university for answers, and hopefully we help to provide a few of those, but equally important is to nurture the capacity to ask good questions. And I think, as you've heard from Annie and Eric, to be passionate about what you want to do, and also to remember to be compassionate with everyone that you meet. So that's an outstanding valedictorian address. I want to thank Eric and Annie for their remarks. And now I'll ask our provost, Anne Whitelaw, for her closing remarks of today's ceremony.
Mesdames et messieurs, merci d'être venus en si grand nombre pour partager avec nous la joie de nos diplômés. Thank you all for being here to celebrate the terrific success of this class of 2019. Dear graduates, the ceremony is almost over, and I hope it's been an exhilarating marker of the time that you've spent at Concordia. Convocation is a rite of passage into what we sincerely hope will be a brilliant future for all of you. But before you step into that bright future, let's take a moment to honor the people who accompanied you on the journey today. Some of them may be faculty members, mentors, and staff sitting here on stage with me. Some of them may be fellow students sitting in the seats or rows beside you. But graduates, would you please stand up, turn around, and thank all the family members, partners, and friends who have been with you every step of the way to today's destination. To you, the graduates of 2019, I offer one last message. Concordia is a great university with a promise of an even greater future ahead of it. And on this day, there is no better measure of our success or of our potential than you. We will always be your university, and as alumni of Concordia, you will always be our best ambassadors. Thank you for having chosen our university as the pathway to your future. You honored us with your choice. And now, as this ceremony comes to an end, please allow us to toast your success with a vin d'honneur in the lobby outside. Merci, félicitations, au revoir, à bientôt.